Hey you guys, welcome back. I'm Karen and this is Yoga at Common Bond Yoga, and today my intention is to offer you a 30-minute strengthening flow for hips. Okay, so we are actually going to start on our backs, and I would love for you to have a block for today's practice. So come on down, and we're going to start with our knees bent. And you're more than welcome to bring your knees together if you want to, if that's more comfortable. Walk your feet out a little bit wider. I do want you to think about your neck alignment, so you might lift your head, tuck your chin in a little bit, and lay the head back down. Maybe just place your hands on your belly, and we'll take a couple breaths here. Taking a big breath in. Fill up the lungs, and as you exhale, empty all the way out. And do start to feel your core engagement at the bottom of the exhale. Each time that you breathe in, take a little more breath in, pause at the top, and each time you exhale, try to exhale even more air out of the lungs. Become aware of your body. And every time you catch yourself, your mind wandering away in your practice today, just notice and come back into your body and come back to your breath. So go ahead and separate your knees and set yourself up so that your feet and your knees are both hip distance apart. Take your block, and usually the setting that works best is maybe the medium setting. So just put a block between your inner thighs towards the tops of the thighs. You don't want your knees to be too close together or too far apart. Take your arms into into robot arms. Bend your elbows, press the backs of the arms against the mat, shoulders back, back of the neck long. Squeeze your block, pull your belly in, and then slowly start to lift your hips up. Think about reaching your tailbone towards your knees. Take an inhale, and then slowly exhale, lower your hips to the bottom. Push into your heels again, lift the hips up. And lower the hips down. Do that one more time. Squeeze your block, inhale, lift the hips up, belly in towards the spine, tailbone towards the knees. Exhale, lower the hips down. Now pull the block out, but I want you to pretend the block is still there. Just imagine it's still there. And on your inhale, lift your hips up. And this time what I want you to do is I want you to take your hands and wrap them around your hips so that your thumbs are around the backs of your hips and the fingers around the front. Now we're going to do a little marching here in place in our bridge. The first step's always the hardest one. So feel your weight shift over into your left foot, and without moving your hips around, pick your right foot up and lower it down. And then pick your left foot up and bring it down. Do that again. Right hip and left. And then right, hold it up. Keep it there. Take your leg up to the sky. Now you can bring your arms down alongside of you now. Flex your foot. And on your inhale, slowly start to lower your hips down and your leg. And then point your toes and lift your hips back up. Inhale, flex your foot, lower the leg, lower the hips, and point the toes, lift the hips up. Do that again. Lower and lift and lower and lift. Did I say one more and do two? Maybe. All right. Bring your foot down. Hold. Pick up your left foot. Straighten your left leg. Flex your foot. Now, don't let your hips move around. Other than going up and down, keep your belly pulled in really strongly. And then lower the hips straight down. Leg comes down. Point your toes. Lift your hips and your legs back up. Lower. And lift. So I'm really feeling my right glute firing right now. Lower and lift. lower, and lift, and then bring your left foot down to the mat. Lift your heels. You can stretch your arms over your head if you would like to, and roll down slowly. And now we're going to rock up. So if you want, you can rock to the side and come up, or rock yourself back and forth a few times and come all the way through into hands and knees. And I want you to have your block. We're going to do the same thing that we did on our bridge. Put the block between your inner thighs. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of cat and cow, and this will probably feel different with the block. So squeeze your block. So your hips are going to be moving, but we're not going to have so much extension in the low back with the block here. So on your inhale, come into cow pose, squeeze your block so you don't feel like you're just dropping your belly, right? Squeeze your block and stretch your hips back and up as you exhale. Again, not as much tucking of the tail here. Inhale. So we have a lot more movement in the upper and the middle back as we work on stabilizing. Inhale. And last time, exhale. Inhale back to neutral. And now keep the block there and slowly push back into a down dog. Keep your knees bent as much as you need to. So this should be kind of what you're feeling in your downward facing dog, in your hands and knees, in your standing postures, that you sort of have a block between your inner thighs and you're hugging it. Not too much, but just enough to keep the legs strong and the hips stable. Now, lift your heels up and just tiptoe, tiptoe, tiptoe all the way to the front of your mat with your block still in between your legs. Now, you can keep your heels lifted here if you want and practice balancing. You can also bring your hips down, your heels down. And then with your heels still lifted, or maybe bring them down and lift halfway up and straighten your back. And you can press your hands either into a block underneath you or into your shins. Stretch the spine forward, exhale, fold. Come all the way up to standing, sweep your arms up over your head. Reach up and stretch. And bring your hands down to your heart center. Tadasana, mountain pose. Now, I want to do a few squats. Can I say that in a yoga class? So we're going to do it with the block, however. And now I can keep the block here, or I might want to turn the block here. So my feet are a little bit further apart. Something I see happen when people squat, and this would relate to any time you're bending your knees and putting your hips back. So any sort of lunging postures like warrior one, warrior two, we want to keep the knees from collapsing inward. So knees point straight ahead, squeeze your block, and bring your arms out in front of you. Imagine you're pushing your hands down into a table in front of you, and then slowly squat down. Look down, you should be able to see your toes. And then stand up. And squat down. I'm going to exhale as I squat. I'm going to inhale as I stand up. Do that again. Exhale. Watch those knees and stand up. Now, if this is too much on your arms or your shoulders, you can always put your hands on your hips. Now I'm going to inhale, squat. Exhale, stand. Inhale, squat. Exhale, stand. And then do that one more time. Hips go back and stand. And then just pull your block out from between your thighs. Something I forgot to mention while I was doing those is that what I see happen a lot of times is as soon as someone goes down into a squat, they go like this. and they lift the head. They overextend the spine and try to keep their chest up. Because I was always told, you know, when I was younger and doing a lot of aerobic stuff, to keep your chest up, where in fact, that's going to put too much strain on your low back. So you want to keep that chin tucked, and you actually kind of bend forward and look out in front of you, but still down and not so much upward. That's going to put strain on your neck, okay? Let's do some, let's do some cars. Controlled articulated rotations, okay? Now you can go over where you can put your hand on a table or something like that. We're gonna practice some balancing, but we're really working on rotation in the hip joint, okay? So I'll show you from different angles, but go ahead and shift your weight into your left leg, pick up your right knee. Now I want your hands on your hips so that you can feel that your hips aren't moving around, just your leg is moving. That's the whole point. So my knee is lifted. Now I'm gonna slowly start to take my knee over to the right. I'm gonna turn my thigh bone in so that the sole of my foot is now facing the back wall. I'm gonna bring my leg all the way around, and as I do that, I'm gonna bring the knee down towards the ground and the knees together. And I'm gonna go back the opposite direction. So I'm gonna lift my knee up, and I'm not overextending the spine, right? I'm not overarching the back. My hips are staying steady. I'm gonna turn my knee, out to the side. I need something to hold on to. Bring it forward and down. Okay, let's try that on the other side, and I'll face you this time so you can see from the front. I'm gonna lift my left knee up. I'm gonna take my knee over to the left, not my hips, just my leg. I'm gonna turn my thigh bone so the bottom of my foot faces behind me. I'm gonna bring my leg around, super slow. Bring the knee down and together, and then come back up. Keep the belly pulled in, take your knee out to the side, bring it around and down. And let's do that one more time on each leg. These are called CARS, controlled articulated rotations. Right knee lifts, side, turn the leg, take it back, bring it down and around, and then come back the opposite way, up, side, forward, and down. And I'm doing this second set a little faster, left knee, but really ideally when you're doing these, you're doing them really, really slow, where it becomes very, very challenging. Your body will probably even start to sweat as you do these, up, side. And so this is something that was created by physical therapists, and it's something you can do every single day just to kind of get your joints moving a lot more, okay? So let's see. Now what I want to do is I want to do some more balancing, okay? So when we're balancing on one leg, imagine that the block is still between your inner thighs, right? So go ahead and pick that right knee up again. And now I'm going to take my leg back behind me like a warrior three. Now you can keep your hands on your hips the whole time. You can reach your arms forward. You can reach your arms back. Now come back up. Lift the knee. Go back to warrior three. You can also have your left hand on a wall or a chair. Inhale. You should really feel that left outer hip, left glute, left hamstring firing. I want you to do one more like that. Try to unclench your toes. Keep breathing. Remember, it's absolutely okay and expected to fall out. Step back to a lunge. And if you fall, you just come back in. Stretch your arms up over your hip. Bring your shoulders down your back. On your inhale, straighten your left knee. And as you exhale, bend both knees. Drop your back knee straight down to the mat. Now push into your left foot, your left heel especially. Come back up. Exhale and lunge down. Inhale, come up. And exhale, lunge. Inhale. Lunge down, hold. bring the back knee down. Let's get a little stretching. So go ahead and bring your hands to your left thigh and just let the hips come forward. You can take a deeper back bend here if you'd like. Lift the chest up towards the sky. Breathe. And now slowly send your hips up and back. I like to tuck my back toes as you come forward into half splits. Keep your left knee soft. Energetically pull your left heel in towards you. We're not trying to overstretch our hamstrings as we often do. Breathe. Good. Now, go ahead and bring that back knee up. We're going to turn and come into a wide-legged forward fold, hands on the mat, or maybe blocks. And now lift halfway up. Turn your knees and your toes out. Bring your hands up to your thighs. Come on up. And let's come into goddess pose. So bring your elbows in, knees pressed out wide. Shoulders down the back, belly pulled in, tailbone towards the floor. On your inhale, we're going to straighten the legs and reach up. And as you exhale, cross your hands behind your head, bend your knees again, and press your palms out wide. Inhale. Exhale. And do that again. Inhale. And exhale. Now stay right here. Lift both heels. Breathe. Set your heels down. Left heel. Set your left heel down. Spin your right heel out. And now come into warrior two. So you might need to turn your left foot out a little bit here. Breathe. You want to feel like you're opening up through your hips, but you also want to feel like you're energetically pulling strength to your hips. Now flip your left palm, reverse your warrior, and go right into a reverse triangle pose. So you're feeling a nice deep stretch through the left side of your body. You feel your back hips supporting you, your back leg. And then exhale, come forward for triangle pose. So reach and reach and reach and reach, and then put your hand down on your leg or onto a block. A block will be a nice thing to have as we go into our next pose. So in this posture, you want to feel like you're turning your left thigh bone out, your knee away from you, and you're turning your right thigh bone in a little bit, not too much. Breathe. Bring your hand to your right hip. Scoot your back foot in first. We're going into half moon pose. So slowly send your weight forward over that left leg. Pick up your right leg and now begin to hug your outer left hip in as you stack your right hip on top of it. Breathe. You can try bending your right knee. You can try reaching for the foot, maybe grabbing onto it or just reaching for it. Keep breathing. And then slowly, softly, with control, step back to your warrior two. Cartwheel your hands down to the mat. Bring your right hand inside of your left foot. Bring your left hand to your sacrum. And now begin to twist to the left. Now you can stay here if you want. You can bring your back knee down, take your right hand out to the side further, and take a deeper twist and let that right hip drop and open up a little bit. You might feel like you're engaging your right glute to help you open up that right hip flexor. You might even reach back for your foot. Breathe. Turn the head. Gently let go of your foot. Turn back around. Pick up your back knee. Let's come into lizard. So eventually you're coming down onto your forearms in this deep lunge. You might put a block or two or three underneath your forearms to bring the floor up to you. Maybe rock back and forth a few times here. I like to take my left arm and wrap it back behind my leg and give that leg a little nudge. This also starts to set us up for maybe eventually coming into an arm balance, which we will be doing in my advanced practice I'll be bringing to you a little later. Breathe. And now from here, we're gonna go right into pigeon, but I want you to do this very slowly and carefully. So just heel, toe. And if you know this doesn't work for you, flip over onto your back and cross your left ankle over your right thigh. And then go ahead and you can put a block underneath your left hip and extend your right leg straight back behind you. If a block's too high, usually a block's too much for me, but I'd like something, so maybe a blanket or a bolster. Now you can stay upright. You can grab your back leg. You can bend the knee and take full pigeon. You can also take sleeping pigeon. But stay in your body and breathe. And now bring your hands back down underneath you. We're going to swing the right leg around. So I want you to shift your weight over into your left hip. So if you're on your back, you'll come up and sit up tall, and you might sit on a block or a blanket so that you're on your sitting bones. And I like to do this twist for getting a little bit of lengthening through the IT band, which is often very tight on most of us. So reach over with your left hand, grab a hold of the outside of your right foot, bring your right hand back behind you, lengthen your spine, inhale, and then twist your spine. As you're twisting, push out through the sole of your right foot, the mound of the big toe. Every time you exhale, you might twist a little bit more. Every time you inhale, sit up taller. Fill your lungs, empty your lungs. All right, let's try Gomu Kasana. So release your twist and now cross your right knee over your left knee. You can also do this by extending your left leg out underneath you. And you can also do this on your back and just grab onto the ankles here or the shins. Okay. So if you're seated, press down into the sitting bones and press down into the outer edges of your feet. Breathe. You can also fold forward here, just very slowly, and just see which sensation. Usually this adds a little more intensity to the stretching of the hips if you fold forward. I personally really like just sitting up tall and stretching up through the top of my head. And then as gracefully as you possibly can, we're going to meet at the top of the mat. So you can just unravel the legs. You can take a vinyasa if you really want to throw one in between here. Back through down dog. And step to the top of the mat. Halfway lift. And forward fold. And rise to stand. And bring your hands to your heart. All right. Now all of that, hopefully I can remember everything. On the other side. So hands on the hips. We're going to shift our weight into the right leg, pick up the left knee this time. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, Go back to that warrior 3. Press the leg back. Try to keep your hips pretty level here. Inhale, come back up, lift the knee. So remember, as we're moving, we're trying to keep this right hip especially really steady and strong. Inhale. Exhale. I may be doing one extra on this side. I'm not sure. I hope I'm even. And then I'm going to step back into my high lunge and take just a second to get situated here. Feel like you're squeezing that imaginary block between your legs. Reach the arms up over your head. On your inhale, straighten your right knee. And as you exhale, bend both knees, elbows in, shoulders down the back. Inhale, push off from that right foot, especially as you come up, and then bring your left knee straight down to the ground, elbows in. Inhale. Exhale. One more time, inhale, exhale, bring it down, hold, hover for a second, and then bring your knee down. All right, let's take our deep lunge, send the hips forward. Don't force it. Don't just collapse into your hips. There's still a lot of muscular engagement around the hips here. Navel pulled in towards the spine. Now send the hips back slowly into Ardha Hanumanasana half splits. Energetically pull your right heel in towards you. Come back to your lunge, pick up your back knee, turn to the left. Wide-legged forward fold, your quads are activated, your belly is pulled in, your tailbone is reaching towards the floor. Come up halfway and turn the knees and the toes out again. Bring your hands up to your thighs. Goddess pose. Press those knees wide, shoulders down the back. On your inhale, straighten the knees. Cross the hands behind you, press out through the palms, bend the knees. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Hold here. Lift the heels. Bring your right heel down. Turn your left heel out. Warrior 2 pose. Readjust the front foot if you need to. We're still pressing that knee outward so it's not collapsing in. Flip the palm, go right into your reverse triangle pose. Stretch the right side. Breathe. And then rise up and keep reaching forward and forward and forward. Find your way into triangle pose. You can keep your left hand behind your back. I like doing that to help me, guide me in the twist deeper. So you press the hand against the back gently and twist kind of around your own arm. Big deep breaths here. Left thigh bone rotates inward, right thigh bone rotates outward. And now put your hand on your hip. Scoot that back foot in first if you need to, and come on up. Hug your outer right hip in, stack your left hip on top of it. Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Breathe. Release the foot, step back, warrior 2, and bring the left hand down, take a twist. Stay here or bring the back knee down, take a deeper twist. Maybe grab the foot. And release. Lizard. That right arm can come back behind the leg. Come up to the hands. Heel toe the foot over or flip onto your back for pigeon pose. Sleeping pigeon. Come back up to the hands. Let's take that twist with our IT band stretch. Reach over with your right hand. Bring your left hand back. Twist, straighten the leg. Sit up tall. Push to the mound of your left big toe. Deep, steady breath. Release the twist. Cow face, Gomu Kasana. Remember, you can do this one on the back as well. Sit up tall, press the sitting bones down. Press the outer edges of your feet down into the floor. Fold forward if you'd like. And there is no rush as we come to the end of our class today. Eventually, you'll make your way down onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest. Take any other movement, maybe a happy baby pose or another spinal twist on your back. It might feel nice to take a supported bridge pose or legs up the wall pose. But eventually find your way into Shavasana. Allow your body to relax completely. I encourage you to stay in your Shavasana for at least 2 minutes. If you have 10 minutes, see if you can stay that long. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.